welcome. Greetings. I'm over here at chess.com and I'm battling once again the Trisha Valentine bot rated 1875. And I made a video just a couple days ago where I battled her as the white pieces. So I thought I'd play her again as the black pieces and see how it goes. And however it turns out is how it turns out, and I'll post this video square and true. Remember, in the beginning, you just want to control the center. Good clean chess will beat this bot. And this is good for me. I've been on a losing streak to end all losing streaks here lately. And it's because I do a lot of puzzles and then I get these wild ideas that my mind is still like thinking about puzzles or something. And I don't know, it's hard to explain. But so, yeah, it's good for me to get back to the fundamentals, and that's what I'm doing with these robots. I love playing these robots, as you know, if you subscribe to my channel. It's a good time to try new ideas, things like that. All right, so I'll just try to talk through my processes, and again, I'm just trying to develop the minor pieces, and then your knights and your bishops, and then followed by your major pieces, the rooks and the queens, the rooks and the queen, excuse me. So yeah, so that puts pressure on that queen, you know. The E file is semi-open. It's semi-open because there's only one pawn on it. And think about taking that. The problem is my opponent will probably get future ideas to attack my rook. And so I don't want that. As soon as I move that bishop, the D file is semi-open as well. The D file is semi-open, but as soon as I move the bishop, my queen will own it, is what I mean. But my opponent has a major piece on it as well. So just little things like that are good to be aware of. Put some pressure on that queen. Doesn't really go anywhere. I'm going to leave the knight there. I want to leave the knight there, and well, or maybe not. Yeah, I would have loved to gone to the C2 square. It was two-carded. At 1875, that's a very, very respectable robot, as far as I'm concerned anyway. And usually old gags like that, where you fork the king and the rook, that C2 square. Yeah, the robot's like, yeah, I know, and I'm not gonna let you get away with that. So I do have a knight in my territory, which I don't like, but I watched a lot of Bobby Fischer stuff, and one thing is, whenever there was a piece in his territory, he always considered that high priority to deal with. Now, I'd like to go to the E4 square, but Trisha's knight is not allowing me to do so. So I'm hoping that H pawn, pushing that up, will pay dividends later on, so that my king isn't just boxed in. So at this level, when you're playing good, clean chess, you got to think about future ideas and look at things like, yeah, my rook's being attacked right now. And their dark squared rook is missing, so I just kind of tell myself, it's good to go to a dark square. Now here the e file is semi-open and my opponent owns it with a major piece, so that's good for my opponent and bad for me. Realistically, I don't think I'm doing that great this game so far. Was this move 17? Yeah, I think that my opponent has a better position than I do. I'd love to go to the d6 with my bishop, but that knight in my territory is not going to let me do that. So I thought for sure there was going to be a pawn take that pawn, but all right. The B file is semi-open. I own it with a major piece. My queen is protecting my A pawn. But I want the queen to do more than just protect a pawn. That's a poor use of resources. Think about it militarily, or like I like to think sometimes like you're in a kitchen. And okay, now I can put a pin on that knight. That was a relative pin, not an absolute pin. But like I was saying, and now, Trisha responds in kind and puts pressure on my queen. Yeah, it's going to again. So both queens are under attack. But no, what I was saying about the kitchen is like if you're a cook or something, you want people working that serves you well. Now here, my opponent has a rook eyeing my queen, so I need to be careful of that. Usually, I like to get a major rook underneath my opponent's queen. Is what I like to try to do, but yeah, I'm not doing so hot this game, but that's okay. I'm going to post it square and true anyway, and we'll see how it goes. It ain't over yet. I'm down 2 points. Okay. Yeah, I'm struggling because my opponent has this knight in my territory, and we were just talking about this with the whole Bobby Fischer thing, and he considered that a priority. Yeah. Okay, so these are forcement movement. This slows. The problem is this slows down my tempo. Okay, so when I'm being forced to move, it slows down my tempo. It gives my opponent a chance to build up whatever idea they're working on while it slows down my tempo. So I like to make moves that force my opponent to get in these terrible positions. You ever play a chess game and you're like, how did I get in such a bad position? So it was probably because your tempo was being knocked off. Okay, now I see a fork right here. Remember my rule of fork. Fork me, fork you. So I'm going to chariot out a minor piece for a major. So that brings the chess game back to evened up now because of that fork. I saw that fork. So remember my rule of fork. Fork me, fork you. That'll help you remember. Things I should be looking to do here. The A file is open. I do own it with a major piece. That's good. This knight in my territory has been knocking me around and giving me trouble. See that knight again? It's making me mess up my tempo. So I'm learning from my mistakes here, because that knight has been doing forceful moves on me and making me go here and there where I don't want to, and it screws up what I've got in mind, slows down my tempo. Yeah, when that queen takes that pawn, I'm in check, and I have to stop and deal with it. So, that's kind of frustrating for me. Yeah, there it comes. So that's okay. Okay, so my opponent's wanting a queen exchange. I think I'll take it because I can deal with that pawn. She's hoping to promote that pawn or take out a rook in the process. But I think I can deal with that. It is something that's going to require immediate attention. But see if we can get this endgame down to 2 rooks versus 1. And now we do have that. So, but like I said, it's a little risky because these pawns. Okay, so now my opponent's rook is overworked. It's guarding 2 pawn. So my opponent really can't move their rook. So I need to play that to my advantage. I need to get the king in the game. The king can't just sit back and watch. Excuse me. That would be cool, but yeah, it cannot happen as such. So this is what happens when that rook is overworked like that. So now here, if my opponent gets me in check, I'll just come back with the pawn. And so let's see here. Yeah. Okay, so my opponent stepped in front of their king with the rook. I think we could do a rook exchange here. Yeah, do a rook exchange. All right, so I still have to be mindful of these pawns coming down. My king is going to have to help out here. At the end game, you want your king on top of your pawn and then try to promote it. So let's see. Let's check. See if we can get these pawns cleared out. I have to be very careful. I don't want to allow my opponent to get on top of its pawn. Let me see what we can do here. All right. There we go. Now I can get rid of this last threat. I want to get rid of this last threat. Now in this end game here, to close this out, I want to make a box. I want to use this rook and my king together to make a box. I want to make it smaller and smaller, working towards my opponent king. So they're not going to make it easy on me at 1875 Robot, but every time I get a chance to make this box smaller and smaller, I'm certainly going to do it. So you see where we started and now look where we're at. So I just want to make this box smaller and smaller. Let's see. I think I need my king. Here we go. I don't want to drop that rook down like to the 4th rank or something, because then I'm losing tempo on making this box smaller and smaller. I don't want my opponent to escape out of this box is what I mean to say. Yeah. So I don't want to swing in and, Now she'll be going for a stalemate, so I have to be mindful of that. So see these 2 squares right here on the 1st and 2nd rank. So we'll let her just give her those 2 squares, and we're going to avoid stalemate. And so I'm just trying to be careful here. So there's only one square she can go to, and then that's mate. Because those are closed off by my king on the B file. So there it is. Okay, that was a sloppy game, but a lot of learning opportunities there for me. Let's see how we did on the review. I did win, but yeah, I played at a 76.1. She played at a 70.3. I think I'm going to play her again because I got a little squirrely on that. Okay. Yeah, that was a sloppy game. So I'm going to do that again. All right. So I'm going to play her again and see if I can do a little more gooder on this one. We'll see how it goes. The last game, I think the problem was I was getting knocked around too much and losing my tempo constantly losing my tempo. And so, here I'm just going to try to stick to good fundamentals, develop my pieces, my minor pieces followed by my major pieces. And here, can't take with that knight. So let's see if we can mess up their pawn structure here on the F file. So if I do that, that knight protects that bishop, so it won't want to take with his queen. So it'll want to deal with that. And now I'll take the bishop. All right. And so this is good chess because that G file is semi-open. Semi-open now, yeah. And so let's see if I can, I feel like I have the advantage here. So far, let's see if I can keep that momentum going. Now that's a hard pin on that knight because it's in front of the king. Put this rook here on the D file, semi-open. Okay. Before I move this pawn, my queen's being attacked. We'll do that. All right. Here this is remind me of the last game. Here comes this knight causing me all kinds of problems. I kind of like that e-pawn there, but yeah, okay, now I have the same problem my opponent does. I got double sack pawns. I was really wanting to castle. However, I found that once the queens are off the board, castling isn't as important. All right, so here's where owning these open files really comes in handy. Right now, this D file, I don't know. I don't like my opponent owning that. Let's see if I can clean up some of these pawns and what have you here. Usually like this, yeah, I'll do exchange because I'm going to take this pawn and yeah, I wanted to swing over to the other side of the board. My opponent won't let me, so I have to go take a movement to go up and then over. Now on this, it's usually just a race to see who can castle or who can queen first, and all things being equal, you want a major piece under a pawn. and then you want to promote that pawn with your major piece under it, not over it. I tell you, I don't want this. I don't want to allow it to where my opponent can get future ideas to get me in check, which now they can, because my king's exposed there on the e-file. Yeah, here it comes. But I don't want. I was thinking about dropping down and getting underneath my pawn is what I was doing there. Okay, I probably should have. Now there's no way for me to castle. Why do I keep saying that? There's no way for me to queen that H pawn. But I've got 2 pawn on the other side of the board, but I can try, but if I push that pawn, it's probably just going to go to H1 and just sit there. But at the same time, that might be good so it can get tied up. It's going to be an overworked rook. Yeah, so now she's got her king helping out. So, yeah, I wanted to get my king to the other side of the board, help promote those pawns, but the A and the B pawn. But, you know, I think we're going to end up doing a rook exchange, and then I want to get my king in a good position. You know, I don't know exactly for what. You know, again, this is going to be for future ideas. So I got these pawns on the other side of the board, which is my strength, and I'm going to stair step these up. These marching pawn are hard to stop. These marching pawn like that. See, that rook is just overworked. My opponent's rook, the white rook, is overworked. Yeah, I better not do that because she's probably going to come down and put me in check. I was hoping to take that. And you see why these marching pawns are so hard to stop. Her rook is just overworked, and that's all there is to it, really. All right. So, probably going to have to let it take that pawn if it wants. Oh, okay. Well, we'll do it this way. All right. So again, the idea is the same. You just, I'm just going to, since she's back here on these back ranks already, I'm just going to queen, and then I'm just going to cut her off and then push her back up the board and make that box smaller and smaller. Just going to push her up on the board to the first rank and then close it out. All right. So this is going to get it. We'll see. This one was is that 57 moves? Let's see what the review says. See if it's a little better on this one. All right, there we go. That's a little more like it. Okay. Says she played at 1750. She's rated 1875. Okay. That happens a lot with this robot. Okay. Well, I hope that helps if you're struggling with this robot. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.